You're watching ABC4 News with Emily Flores, Glenn Mills, and Alana Brophy.
Historic day in the Senate, lawmakers passing a bill protecting the right to marry for same-sex couples.
And while many lawmakers are celebrating its passage, not everybody's happy. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Raquel Martin has more.
Good evening. Well, this bill will update a 1996 law called the Respect for Marriage Act. Back then, senators defined a marriage as between a man and a woman. This updated version would broaden the definition to same-sex couples and requires the federal government, regardless of state laws, to protect them.
What a great day.
7 years after the Supreme Court upheld the right to same-sex marriage, Tuesday, the U.S. Senate voted to protect it.
And the first people I will call when this bill passes will be my daughter and her wife.
Tuesday, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called the Respect for Marriage Act a historic milestone for same-sex couples, including those close to home.
And it's personal to me. This is the tie I wore at my daughter's wedding to her wife.
The bill requires the federal government to recognize same-sex marriages, even if the Supreme Court were to overturn its previous decision. Wisconsin Democrat Tammy Baldwin, the first openly gay senator, led the charge.
Their marriages are and will in the future continue to be valid.
12 Republicans, led by Ohio Senator Rob Portman, backed the effort.
It's time for the Senate to settle the issue.
Their support comes after Democrats included changes to protect religious institutions from violating their beliefs.
Robust religious liberty protections.
But the majority of GOP lawmakers remain opposed.
I think the Constitution is silent on this issue.
Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley insists same-sex marriage should be left to the states to decide and calls new protections for religious groups weak.
Churches and religious organizations and religious persons, I think, will have their liberties infringed.
The bill now heads back to the House for a final vote. It's expected to pass yet again with bipartisan support and then heads to the president's desk for his signature. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
Senator Mitt Romney, one of those Republicans who voted for the bill, Senator Mike Lee voting against it. He tried to add his own amendment before the vote, adding additional protections for religious organizations, but it failed.
And President Biden calling on Congress to avert a nationwide rail strike. He met today with congressional leadership, pushing them to take on legislation to block a strike. The House is expected to do so tomorrow. Some experts estimate a strike could cost the economy up to $2 billion a day.
A jury convicting 2 people of seditious conspiracy in connection with the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol. 3 others also convicted of various crimes for their involvement. Morgan Norwood has the latest.
After nearly 3 days of deliberations, a D.C. jury convicting Oath Keepers leader Stuart Rhodes and associate Kelly Meggs of seditious conspiracy in the January 6 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Prosecutors pointing to Rhodes in this video from November of 2020, saying he knew what would happen.
We have men already stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option in case they attempt to remove the president illegally. We will step in and stop.
This is the first time a jury has decided that the violence on January 6 was the product of organized conspiracy. The jury apparently siding with the prosecutors' claim that the Oath Keepers were prepared to use force and that these guns, including assault weapons stored at a Virginia hotel, were to be used to wage war if former President Trump had given the word. Some of the critical evidence in the case appears to be text messages from Rhodes and other members of the group. Rhodes writing, "We aren't getting through this without a civil war." In another, he wrote, "It will be a bloody and desperate fight. We're going to have a fight that can't be avoided." Rhodes, along with a number of Oath Keepers, had testified in their trial, suggesting not to take their incendiary language seriously and that they were not planning to commit violence.
We presented a case which showed through evidence and testimony that Mr. Rhodes did not commit the crime of seditious conspiracy.
Rhodes, Meggs, and 3 other defendants were also found guilty of obstructing an official proceeding, specifically Congress certification of Joe Biden as president on January 6. Rhodes and Meggs now facing up to decades in prison. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
All right, thank you, Morgan. Well, state leaders say the lava from the Mauna Loa eruption in Hawaii isn't posing a threat to any communities right now, but people need to stay ready. It's the first time the volcano has erupted in nearly 40 years. That's the longest between eruptions in recorded history. So far, there's no danger to the communities on the island, we're told, but shelters are being opened in preparation, and the state's governor has a message for people who live there.
We've asked all of our residents to review the volcano preparedness plans, and it will definitely be weeks before it would be moving into any populated areas.
The governor stressing that Hawaii is still open for business and tourists are still welcome and able to watch the eruption.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
So from fire in Hawaii to ice in Utah.
That's how we're going to make that transition, Alana.
Well, it is icy out there right now. Anything that was wet, those temperatures have dropped. Gosh, this was a good storm. It felt like Mother Nature was like, we need a little Christmas right this very minute. Gosh, we definitely dealt with snow throughout many locations in Utah. This is the overhead look at Sugar House Park. Scott Taylor sending us this one. Nice to see the mountains coated with snow, but also the valleys, that lake effect band really delivering. And you can tell exactly where it's set up and impacted areas. Kaysville getting 9.5 inches, East Layton getting 9, Heber getting 8.5. So we know that we really added to the accumulations as we headed into the overnight and early this morning. Bountiful Bench, final total there at 8.3 inches. Sandy picked up half a foot. Layton itself at 5. Clinton 4.5. Tooele getting 3.3. 3 inches at daybreak, and Lehigh getting 2.5. We saw snow further south at the I-70 juncture, and now it's cold. It's all about the cold as we get through the next several hours and into tomorrow. Here's what we're tracking. Those frigid temperatures as well as those icy conditions for your morning commute. A few clouds as we roll into tomorrow. It's just a brief break, though, because we have an active pattern now settling in, and it does bring the increase of the winds as we roll into Thursday. That southwesterly flow is going to get gusting, and that means another system's on the way. Cold front will come through as we roll towards the end of this work week with another round of wet weather. That will be rain that transitions to snow, but really another couple inches there expected. And that's not our only storm right now. We actually have a few snow showers in the northwestern corner of the state. Other than that, fairly clear conditions will open the door for very cold temperatures. It's in the 20s right now in Salt Lake, dropping. This is some of the coldest air of the season following the snow, and we know some fog, patchy fog, could pop up. Those low 20s expected in Salt Lake. Now check out other areas along the Wasatch Front. We are expecting teens, including near Lehigh, Pleasant Grove, Heber getting down to the single digits right now. Park City getting to 29, 18. They're going to be dropping into the single digits, 18 in Tooele. So we know it's going to be chilly. So here's how things are shaping up. The jet stream playing a big part in this as we get through the rest of today. Well, we just get cold temperatures, but our next system has moved into the Pacific Northwest, and where the jet stream has set up, it's going to keep that moisture to the north, but we are seeing those few stray showers in the northwestern corner of the state. Now, as we roll into Wednesday and Thursday, we know we're getting ready for a cold front to move on through. The winds are going to pick up. We get very windy conditions, and then here comes that wet weather as we go from Thursday night into early Friday morning. So the Friday morning commute could get a little sloppy. Here's the timing of it. Futurecast takes us through what to expect. Watch the clock in your corner. By Wednesday at 8 a.m., we have this brief little break from high pressure, and then that approaching front heads our way. Ahead of it, the winds really pick up, and we get very gusty conditions, especially on the western side of the state. Get ready. I think we're going to see some advisories headed our way as those wind gusts really pick up and the front comes through. 10 p.m. we start to fill in. Now we know we're going to see cold temperatures that late in the day, so this is going to be snow that accumulates, and the potential is there not just for the mountains but for the valleys as well. It's a quick hitter. By Friday at 5 a.m. a bulk of the moisture on the model there wants to clear out, but that means that we could see sloppy conditions for your Friday morning commute plan now. High pressure definitely wants to take over following that. Doesn't stay that way because we get another storm brewing as you look towards the Pacific, and that one's going to move in late Saturday through Sunday and Monday. Now the models want to bring in a decent amount of snow. We're looking at about a trace to 2 inches from the Thursday-Friday storm. We could see heavier totals as we get through the latter half of the weekend. Temperatures for tomorrow in the 30s and 40s. We're looking at 30s and 40s on the eastern side of the state, 40s for the I-15 corridor, and 50s down there in St. George. Speaking of Washington County, next 7 days, chance of some rain on Friday. Yeah, the winds are going to be the big talker. Oh, look at that. My turkey still wanted to jump up. Didn't want to end the party. Wasatch Front brings in the cold temperatures for the overnight, and then we slightly warm with the help of those winds, but just look at that active pattern as we deal with wet weather and snowy conditions as we usher in December. get ready for it. It feels festive out there. I'm wearing like 2 coats on the way home.
As we need to be.
And Glenn said he's going to scrape all our windshields. So that's so nice.
Yeah. Hold your breath while I do that.
Yeah. Cold breath, right?